Every episode on Celebrity Encounters Podcast, we interview real people just like you, sharing their own personal celebrity encounters. And with a little storytelling help from us and a few surprises from here in Las Vegas, this is Celebrity Encounters Podcast.
Welcome to Celebrity Encounters Podcast. I'm Alan.
I'm Harlan, and guess what, people? We have got a guest for you. I'm excited to say you may not know, but this is Chris Korman. Yes, the Chris Korman, the same last name as who?
Harvey Korman.
Woo! How's it going, Chris?
I'm wonderful, Harlan. So good to talk to you.
So we're excited to have you. Now, having grown up in Hollywood and having a father like your amazing father, I got to geek out real quick on your dad. I know We're talking about other encounters, but I got to, I grew up, like many other people, watching the Carol Burnett show. And as somebody who wasn't particularly funny as a kid, I would watch your dad and Tim and Carol and... oh my God, I'm blanking on the fourth, the redhead. Yes.
Vicky.
Yeah. Vicky Lawrence. And it brought me such immense amount of joy, and the family would be there because it was comedy for everybody. And it was always your dad and Tim, and watching your dad break character and crack up at Tim's stuff that just brought me the most amount of joy because it felt so genuine.
Well, Tim was hysterical, and your dad couldn't hold a straight face when he went into one of his bits. Tim Conway was just the best. And the two of them would kind of try to hold it in, and finally they just lost it.
You know, because back then they didn't break the fourth wall, which is like, you're only supposed to see the professional stuff, and they were just like being people.
Yes, absolutely.
Type of thing. So take us away, Chris. Who are you sharing your encounter about with?
Well, first of all, thank you for saying the things you said about my father and Tim. They were friends for about 40 years. They loved each other dearly on and off screen. You could tell that. But you have to remember, before I tell you the story, you have to remember, they did 2 shows a night. They did a dress at 5:30, and they did an air show. So the rule of thumb was Carol and her husband, Joe Hamilton, said, all right, let's get the first one into can so this CBS has a choice. If we do the second show was always for Tim. We said, well, let Tim destroy Harvey.
That's awesome.
It was a very expensive ego trip for CBS. Having been around, too old when I say it, the Burnett show went on the same year I went on. I was born 67, so I'm 58 years old now. And I can tell you the seats in Studio 33 have aged better than I have. At least they get a different coat of paint every 6 months. I don't. So I just turned 18. You just arrived in Hawaii. My first day, I'm in a room with Jerry Lewis, Gary Collins, Burt Lancaster, Donald O'Connor. And Jerry walked in. I can tell this story because Jerry walked in.
Wait a second. Hold on one second. Give me that list of names again, because just that list alone is pretty phenomenal.
Okay. So Jerry Lewis, Gary Collins, and Mary Ann Mobley, who were married, Donald O'Connor, Burt Lancaster, and all these people were in this large, lounge room.
Wow.
And they were getting together and talking and doing some press with the golf tournament. In walks Jerry Lewis, who had just had a triple bypass.
Oh.
So instead of just playing it low key, which my father obviously has a problem with, he says to Jerry, Chris doesn't mean Jerry Lewis invitation. So we're in a room of 50 people. So my dad has me break out into that whole thing. Oh, lady, you drive me crazy. And I'm doing a Jerry Lewis shtick in front of Jerry Lewis.
Oh, my God.
And you're 18.
This is my 18th birthday. This is my first birthday in Hawaii. And I'm now engaging all these famous people, and I'm doing Jerry Lewis in front of Jerry Lewis. I said, this is surreal. This doesn't happen every day. And thank God it didn't happen again. For my sake of sanity, I'm glad it didn't happen again.
Oh my God. I can't even imagine like trying to do that like in front of a comedic legend. That's
Well,
wow.
I thought, seriously, I thought I hit, you know, the pantheon of experiences in my life. So the next morning, I'm facing the breakfast area. My dad's back is two, if we're in this half shell booth, and there's a plant with a wall in front of it, next to it. So he can't turn around and see who I see. So I'm watching the room. So I know who everybody's coming in. Burt Lancaster, who's what, 6'8" or something, he's walking towards me with a plate of food. Now I'm trying to be very discreet and say, Dad, Burt Lancaster is coming our way. My dad is now turned this into a Conrad routine. He says, what? Okay, up to the second time. Now I'm talking through my teeth. I don't want Burt Lancaster to announce that I'm announcing him walking to a room. I said, Burt Lancaster is walking in or he's walking towards us. My dad said, what? Oh, for God's sake, get some hearing aids. Burt Lancaster, I said really fast. Now, as I finish my last sentence, Burt has now arched his head around and said, oh, hi, Harvey. I'm thinking, this doesn't go well. My dad's got 3 minutes now, and Burt Lancaster's talking to him. This is just going to get worse. For me, for Burt, for my dad. So my dad luckily chewed this food. He arched his head around and, oh, hi, Burt, how are you? I said, this is my son, Chris. And I shook his hand and said, who are you sitting with for breakfast? Like, well, my wife is in the hotel room. So, mind if I join you? So my dad pushes me into the booth. So now I'm in the middle. My dad's on the left, Bert's on the right. And now we're all staring at each other. We can't figure out who's going to talk. And one of us, I know, has green in their mouth. And I knew it wasn't going to be me because I was very careful not to have food in my mouth when I talk. My father, however, does not understand etiquette that way. So now we're all staring at each other. So what hole are you starting on, Burt? We're on 12. Where are you? We're starting on 16. I said, oh, that's cool. I say, this is my son's birthday was yesterday. And Burt said, oh, that's wonderful. Happy birthday. No, Burt Lancaster's wishing me a happy birthday. And shake my hand. It's nice to meet you. I'm like, okay, now I thought yesterday was weird with Cherry. Look, now this is just gone beyond reality. So now we're all just talking, and my dad's looking at Burt, and Burt's saying, you know what, Harvey, my wife and I have enjoyed your work for so many years. My dad went stupid for like 20 seconds. So wait a minute, you and your wife know my work. See, my dad always kind of summed up his value as, I'm this guy from this variety show. I'm a schmo in Chicago. What does a movie god like you would know about me?
Hold on 1 second, Chris, because you beg a good question. Is, Burt Lancaster, for people who don't know who Burt is and his background, can you fill us in, Alan?
Oh, Burt Lancaster, he started out as a trapeze expert performer.
Yeah, he was a circus performer.
Made him, well,
Really?
It's like Here to Eternity, and of course Elmer Gantry, which he won the Oscar for.
So
he's a big hulky man, and at least 6'5", maybe bigger. And this voice, I mean, like God, like Morgan Freeman, voice of God. And here's the interesting thing about the pecking order. We talk about the legitimacy of acting. It's always been theater, movie, television, as far as being legitimacy. So my dad could never figure out why people like Paul Newman or Chris or Cary Grant would know who my father was. Because my dad never put much value in what he did. I don't mean humbly. He just never put much value into what he did. He said, I was a sketch comedian or I'm this. He never put value on the idea that comedy could solve people's problems or help people. He never saw it as cathartic. He just said, this is something I do. What value does it have? And when Burt Lancaster saved my father, my wife and I love you every Saturday night. We love what you do. I can never do what you do. My dad said, you're Burt Lancaster, you can do whatever. I said, therein lies the fallacy in the business. We assume every performer can master every other genre. That's not true. Because a lot of actors don't want to do TV. They like the idea of movies. Like they could do a couple. They could do a couple pages and go to the trailer. You're doing a variety show. You're doing a 200 whatever lines. You have to memorize music. You have to remember staging. You have to remember there's 3 cameras. That's daunting for certain actors. So we're all talking about show business, whatever. And my dad kept on looking at Burt and said, "I just can't believe you and your wife love what we do on the Burnett show." And I'm sitting now. I'm floored because Burt Lancaster said he's a fan of my father's. If that's high praise indeed. But to say I admire what you do, Harvey, because I can never do what you do, was just made me go, okay, I get it. My dad's that good. He's that big.
So you're an 18-year-old kid with Burt Lancaster telling you that your dad is the best. It must have blown you away.
It did. There's like this idea, there's movie stars and then there's TV actors.
Right.
You didn't mix those two together. Now, movie stars are doing television because the medium is so different now.
Oh, no, totally. Because I started off in the feature film business, and all the celebrities that I worked with on that would never, ever consider doing television.
Right.
It was like almost a faux pas to like, oh, I'm stepping down, into that world type of thing. And of course, all the TV actors all wanted to make movies because of that whole nomenclature of status type of thing. And you're absolutely right, Chris. I want to say it wasn't that long ago, maybe 10 years ago, it started to change over where you saw big celebrities, making that move into television. Like
Oprah, when she did Color Purple.
Right.
She was a TV personality, and all of a sudden she's on the screen.
Right.
And it was like, is she going to make it? And then she was a big hit in that.
Yep.
So.
And now you have like big feature film actors like being the host of primetime game shows. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and Shazam and things like that, super big, celeb names. So you're absolutely correct. Back then, Burt Lancaster, would have never thought, oh, I want to be on TV.
And he turned down the role of Ben-Hur.
Yes, I heard that.
The movie Ben-Hur, which Charlton Heston then got. So Burt Lancaster was originally asked to do Ben-Hur.
He would have been great at that. I mean, I know Charleston was phenomenal at that.
Yeah.
But I think Burt would have been pretty amazing too.
But I don't think Charles Heston could have played Elmer Gantry.
Oh, no. Yeah. No, for sure. You're 100% right.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead, please.
Do you still keep in contact with Carol Burnett?
I do, through Jody Hamilton, her daughter. Here's the funny thing about my relationship with Carol. There's that fine line between she works with my father, she's an acquaintance, she's family, but there's a line I feel like I don't cross with Jody. But I say, well, every time I talk to Jody, it's got to be about her mother. So I say, Jody, I'll say hi. You say hi to your mother at the end of our conversation. So she doesn't think the only reason I'm contacting her is because of Carol, because I don't.
Sure.
I'll teach Jody as Jody for what she's doing in her life, and she'll ask me how my wife is and my son is doing. We won't go on like that. Like, people have to understand, my relationship with a lot of people are because who my father was with that person. I don't have that relationship with people.
Sure. Let's go back to Burt Lancaster's.
Okay, sure.
So you're at the table, your dad's eating food, Burt sits down.
And his hand just took my hand and ate it up. And I couldn't find my hand. He was so massively big, and he has that great voice. And they're just talking back and forth. And Burt would say, watch it. Oh yeah, I think we're gonna get going soon. It's like, well, Harvey, Chris, is great. It's good to know you, Harvey. It's great to meet you, Chris. Happy birthday again. And my dad and I just stared at each other like, can we just spend 15 minutes, 20 minutes eating breakfast with Burt Lancaster? My dad was, and then he shook my dad's hand and said, Harvey, I'll talk to you. See you in the golf course. I can't wait to introduce you to my wife. When you meet my wife later at the party. And my dad's just now staring like that. You tell people as a habit, don't stare at people. It's a bad habit. It's just rude. He just stared at Burt like, I can't believe I'm talking to Burt Lancaster. He just get done staring at him. And now Burt is just very congenial, very friendly, very warm. I said, hurry up, I'll talk to you later. Nice meeting you, Chris. And he walked off. My dad and I didn't speak for the first 20 seconds. We just looked at each other like, did that just happen? You just had breakfast with Burt Lancaster and he praised you. It's like, yeah, Chris, I don't quite get this. I might have to go drink.
That's amazing. Like, I can't imagine like being anywhere where like some like major, celebrity like Tom Cruise in today's thing and came up and was like, hey, Harlan, I really appreciate your podcast.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, if you want to talk about some other surreal encounters, meeting Sean Connery in the bathroom.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, so we were at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion with where Giselle Kinsey, Mikhail Brusikov is directing Swan Lake at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. I am 16 or so. My dad said, we're going to go to Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. I said, well, that's great, have fun. He said, no, you're going with me. It's like, no, I'm at home. You know how I'm watching the Dodger game. He said, you get a tux, you get into a lumber. It's like, I don't care what you put me in, I'm not going. I don't care about guys in tights. That's your thing, Dad. And I said, well, I'm not going alone. My sister Maria loved Christopher. So if I had to deal with this, you do too. It's like, what is this, family punishment night at the Kormans? Just get the freaking tuxedo on. We're going to get the limo and we're going to go. I'm glad I went. You all know what it's like to wear a tuxedo. You got 4,000 layers to get off just to think of this.
Yeah.
I'm in the bathroom. I'm standing at the stall, and Sean Connery walks into the stall next to me. And I'm trying to focus on doing what I'm supposed to be doing there and look up and not, and he's got that beard and he's got that voice. Hi, Christopher. It's nice to meet you.
Oh, that was a good invitation too. That was good.
And I swear to God, I'm all right. I keep on thinking to myself, keep on looking out. Don't look down.
No, because quite honestly, for all guys, especially if there's a celebrity, you want to check out his junk and hey,
right? Realize my problem, guys.
Oh no, I walk in your shoes. I have. There have been many a times I've been in the bathroom. I know that sounds weird, but and there was somebody next to me, and you're like, what's happening?
Yeah, well,
is it welcome to Jamaica? Have a nice day. Do you know that joke?
See, how do you make cordial conversation at a stall sound inviting?
Oh yeah, you just can't go, hey, how's it going?
Yeah. Right. So I'm thinking,
especially Sean Connery.
Yeah, right.
And I swear to God, I don't. It's one of those nights where you go, this is just going to get worse for me or better. I don't know. I looked up at him. I smiled. I went back to do what he was doing what he was doing with his junk. I was doing with my junk. And I looked at him, and I swear to God, it came out of my mouth. They said, oh, you are definitely 007. And he just smiled. And then we both watched the air sink on the bathroom, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to shake your hand until you wash, and I'm not shaking yours until you wash. So we both wash our hands, and I said, it's an honor to meet you, Mr. Connery. I didn't want to come tonight. I'm not really into ballet. I said, how do you think I feel? My wife tried.
Oh, geez.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I guess said, 007 is not as sophisticated as we thought.
Well, he's very sophisticated. He just doesn't like.
I'm here with my father, Harvey Korman. Oh my God! So can I meet him? I said, sure. So now this is
wait. 007 is geeking out on your dad.
He's like, wait, your father's Harvey Korman. I said, yes, he's Harvey. And my father's Harvey Korman. It's like, and is your father into this stuff too? It's like, God, no. He'd rather stay home and play with his junk and watch baseball games. And so he's all right. We wash hands. I came with this hand towel thing that you pull.
Yeah.
And I just dry my hands. Now, okay, I'm walking out of the bathroom area. he's now following me behind me. And my dad turned around and said, "Oh my God, Sean Connery's following Chris out of the bathroom." And she keeps on walking behind me. I said, "Dad, Sean Connery's behind me." It's like, "I can see you. I'm going to miss Sean Connery walking behind you." I mean, I'm 6'2.5". Sean Connery was he's like Burt Lancaster. He's a massively huge man.
Right.
So I didn't have to just say, "Dad, oh, by the way, guess who's behind me? It's a freaking giraffe with a beard." Dad, Sean Connery wants to say hi and meet you. Like, "Okay, hi, Harvey. How are you? Nice to meet you, Harvey." And my dad's like, "Oh my God, Sean Connery." It's like, "It's nice to meet you, Harvey." And then it's like, they talked a little bit, and Maria, who has no clue, Sean Connery, my sister, was not into that world.
Boo.
But I said that she's impressed with Baryshnikov, and my dad and I were impressed with Sean Connery. That tells you the different generational interest that
Sure.
my sister had. We're walking away, my dad said, "God, I hope you did not embarrass our family and you were in the bathroom." I said, "Dad, I kept my hands off his junk and I kept to myself. What else do you need to know?" I said, "Did you wash hands?" I said, "Yes, after we shook hands after we washed. If it makes you feel better." And he said, "What?" And he said he couldn't figure out why an 18-year-old would be in a tuxedo going to see about life. I feel the same way. Why in hell am I in a tuxedo? I'd rather go home and watch a Dodger game. Like, well, I'd rather do what your sister wanted to do. But how could you pass up on not meeting Sean Connery?
Oh, no. Oh, absolutely. And
That
again,
alone,
this is back in the day when film stars and TV stars were two different worlds. And
Right.
what a compliment to your dad, that these two big movie stars, Sean Connery, Burt Lancaster, both took a moment to as human beings, as people that just love comedy, was like, "You know what? I appreciate what you do, Harvey." That's just super cool, I think.
And it validates them too.
And it's also just so humbling that actors don't make the distinction between the craft of acting. Acting's acting to them.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because most actors, I guarantee you guys, most actors today could not do a 3-camera sitcom without crying or pissing in their pants.
Well, hold on one second. Hold that story for another time, because we're running out of time right now in this segment.
Okay.
So let's segue back to the Burt Lancaster. So the golf tournament happened. Was your dad good at golfing? And do you remember?
Oh, yeah, he was actually pretty good at golf. Actually, yeah, he broke 80 a couple of times, I think.
Wow. And do you remember who was his foursome?
I don't, but I can tell you who else was in that, who might have been in the group, and was the great jazz singer, Joe Williams.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Who played Claire Huxtable's father.
Oh,
And
wow.
my encounter with him was, it was like meeting Poitier or Jackie Robinson or something like that. There was a royalty about Joe Williams. And again, I'm conditioned to understand that when you're amongst celebrity, my behavior reflects on my power.
Absolutely.
So
Sure.
I'm very mindful of that fact because I don't want to do anything that's going to embarrass our family. I said, let's be fair. You spend the majority of my childhood dressed as a chicken or a native arm lady, and you're worried about my decorum?
No, I get it. It's like me going out with Alan. I'm like, oh, I'm going to embarrass Alan. I just can't stop myself. And that's why he stopped asking me to hang out.
Well, my dad's argument was, look, that cross-dressing you put you through college, so shut up.
There you go.
I said, I'm not going to go around bragging that fact. I can tell you that. My father really never, my dad is classically trained at Goodman Theater. He studied with Udo Hagen at the Herbert Berghoff studio. So
Your dad was a one of a kind. That's for sure. And
he was.
I don't think comedy, especially TV, will ever replace your dad and what he brought to the table and the uniqueness and the quality of humor to it. So
thank you for saying that. That's very kind of you to say that. But because of my dad's classical training, is that he always approached acting as an actor doing comedy, not as a comedian.
oh,
He
interesting.
said, whether it's farce or satire, you always play truth. And I learned that from Lucy. I learned that from the people I worked with. is that you always play the truth, no matter how broad or farce or satirical it is. You always play the truth, and that comes from this training. And there's some actors who could not. Let's say, how do I say this? They could not improvise a sneeze or a cough without having to work on it.
Oh, for sure.
It's organic or it's not for an actor. And my dad always kept it real, whether it's TV or movie. So I think he never.
Well, that's probably why both Sean Connery and Burt Lancaster appreciated that, because that came across in the way that he conveyed his comedy was something that they could relate to as performers.
I think so. I think Carol Burnett actually said it best when it came to, because my dad, he does the Mother Marcus thing as a stomach of terms. That's an homage to his mother.
That makes sense. That's every time I wear women's clothes, I always say the same thing. This is an homage to somebody.
Well, I tell you, your dad was a part of a lot of our lives because we watched the Carol Burnett show religiously, and he brought happiness to our living room. We laughed and laughed. I remember watching it, and it was just such a wonderful program.
So much so that Burt Lancaster and Sean Connery geeked out to meet
Absolutely.
his dad. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this episode, Chris. All of these encounters are amazing, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Celebrity Encounters Podcast.
See you next time.
Thanks for tuning in today, and if you enjoyed our show, please subscribe, rate, and review our podcast on all your favorite platforms. We'll see you next week with the next episode of Celebrity Encounter Podcast.